everyone, so this is my review of Code Black Season 3, Episode 4, called The Same Air. And essentially what this episode is about is that Dr. Willis and Dr. Rox arrive on the scene of a massive car crash due to road rage. And the whole ER staff sort of has to deal with the fallout of that. And while that's going on, Dr. Elliot sort of struggles with trying to decide whether or not he is a good enough doctor when he is sued for his decisions with the SWAT officer in the first episode. And this was such a great and interesting episode that was so entertaining to watch and had so many really great moments to it. And I really loved everything around this episode and the slow sort of burn reveal of what actually happened to cause the car crash and whether it was the motorcyclist's fault or the fault of the stepfather in the one major sort of car that was wrecked. And just everything around that family of the stepfather and his wife and his two stepdaughters was so great, with, like I said, that slow sort of burn and reveal of everyone trying to figure out what is actually going on with this family and whether there is abuse in the home and whether or not it was the stepfather's fault for the accident and what is actually going on inside this family. And just everything around Dr. Willis and the oldest daughter was great, with how this oldest daughter was really sort of the support throughout the whole family in this episode. And she was there for her mother and she was there for her sister, and just the whole conversation between Dr. Willis and this girl about this girl and how throughout her whole life and throughout this whole circumstance with the stepfather and being there for her sister, she has been this warrior and this trooper and all this different stuff. And I just really loved how the episode ended with her finally being there to step up against her stepfather and say, I don't want you to come home. This whole thing was your fault. And when the father finally did sort of snap back at her, the mother was there to be there for the daughter and not be there for the husband anymore. And that was so great to see how easily and smoothly that whole thing sort of happened, and I just really loved it because of that. And then everything around the other patient who was in the car crash, who wasn't in the family car or wasn't the motorcyclist, but was the one that was probably in the worst condition of them all, was interesting, with everything around Angus and Campbell and them sort of working together to try and save his life. And then also dealing with the fallout when they couldn't. Jesse sort of dealing with the wife of this man in the car crash, and everything around that was so sweet and so well done with Jesse and the wife, and how the sort of comment that he makes that yes, the husband might be gone, but he did leave her with a gift because of the fact that they discovered that she was pregnant. And then everything around Dr. Angus and Dr. Campbell was interesting, with Dr. Campbell's ex-wife sort of coming into the mix and wanting to speak to Dr. Campbell about the possibility of getting more involved in their daughter's life again, and Dr. Campbell just not wanting to be there for that. And Angus trying to find a way to find a happy medium, but sort of discovering that with Dr. Campbell there is no happy medium. He's very set in his way of thinking, and that's across the board, whether at work or family life or anything else. And then everything with Dr. Elliot was interesting, with him and Diego sort of going through the conversation of the fact that technically it is Diego's fault for what happened to the SWAT officer, but it's Dr. Elliot's fault for the fact that he was the one in charge of Dr. Diego, and sort of them finding a way to work together, with Dr. Diego sort of learning that he needs to be there to step up and be a doctor, and that his sort of status in life won't help him through everything. And with that, everything with Dr. Diego and his sort of side story with this celebrity that he met and that he's working on was interesting, with the fact of it slowly being revealed to this celebrity that Dr. Diego might not fully know what he's doing, and the fact that he's not really a doctor technically yet. And just everything around that was just a really nice sort of moments here and there to sprinkle in to sort of split up all the other stories. And then everything with Dr. Noah and Dr. Mario was interesting, with them dealing with a patient that Dr. Mario encountered in the past, I believe in the first season, if I remember right, when he was a first year. And this drug addict who injures himself to be able to get the drugs he needs to get high. And just everything around Dr. Mario and them sort of bringing back the whole sort of story around his personality and how he used to be a drug addict. And everything around that was really great, and I really, really loved the ending of this episode with the two of them, with the patient and Dr. Mario, with them sort of talking about how when you're talking about someone you know who has a drug addiction, it's a disease, but when you're talking about someone you don't know, it's a problem, and it's a mistake and stuff like that, and how you sort of need to learn to realize that across the board addiction is a disease, and it's something that can be cured if there is the support there for it. And that was really great, with the fact of this patient and Dr. Mario sort of realizing that they can be the support there for each other. And then just all the other stories and stuff in this episode that I don't want to go into more detail with because I don't want this video to be too long, like with Dr. Willis and Rox and their whole sort of story of getting to know each other more and stuff like that was also just really, really great. But I don't really want to go into more detail with that because, like I said, I don't want this video to be too long. And then everything with Leanne and Ariel was also really great. And just overall, this was a really amazing and really great episode that I just loved so much because it had so many great like little stories in this episode. And just, yeah. So that was my review of Code Black, Season 3, Episode 4, called The Same Air. So, yeah. Bye!